Hey guys, Uncle Ray, welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. I don't always tell you what you want to hear, but I tell you what you need to hear to make informed decisions. Guys, I founded this channel because I have a financial background. I do a ton of research I wanted to share and hopefully help my community. Now, none of this is financial advice, but guys, I promise you everything I talk about on this channel has merit and there's a ton of alpha. Now, I want to dive into where we are in the big pictures with payments in crypto worldwide, because you really got to understand where we're at and pull back and look at it with the bird's eye view, because we hear all this misinformation every day about what's going to happen with payments. But when you go behind the scenes and you get away from all the noise and you listen to the people that really can and are controlling that, you'll see a whole other aspect. And that narrative, that so-called banking reset or the ISO tokens, or, we don't need banks or whatever, all of a sudden you realize how BS that is. And not only that, once you have some factual information that you get straight from the source, which I give a lot on this channel and I'm going to give some in this video, once you understand that something is a fact, right, or it has a high probability of happening, and you hear someone else contradicting that, you understand that they just haven't done their research, or they are biased, or they're just not someone you should probably listen to. Anyway, guys, hit that like button. Let's talk about payments, crypto payments, and where we are. Now, the reason I made this video and really dove into payments, again, because I've been following them for over 2 years, I fell for the ISO banking reset narrative. At one point, I owned XRP, XLM, Link, Quant, HBAR, IOTA, Algorand, pretty much every one of them. And now I still own HBAR, I still own Link, and that's probably all the ISO tokens. I sold my Quant even, which I love. But anyway, the reason I dove back into this narrative, and the reason I want to share this with you, and I think it's real important, guys, is because David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple, just came out a couple of weeks, like a month ago now, and he said, and I quote, "Banks don't want to move billions of dollars with Ripple, and banks will not be Ripple's successes." Now, that's a whole different video of where Ripple's going. Now they're moving into tokenized assets or whatever. But when he said that, I wanted to know more about where the world is and why, this technology is not being adopted, because it is 1,000 times better, faster, and cheaper. So I've been down the rabbit hole, and I've been going to straight from the source. This is the World Economic Forum, where I've read these 2 articles, which people do not read stuff like this. For instance, what you see, it says unlocking interoperability, overcoming regulatory friction, and cross-border payments. I read this article, cross-border payments can't rely on tech alone. There's 4 ways to make them work. Well, guys, we're going to talk about the regulatory compliance issue, and then I'm going to tell you what some hedge fund guys and some bankers from around the world that I've been listening to and researching what they're saying. Because I'm here to tell you, no ifs and buts about it. There is no banking reset coming that's going to pump like the ISO tokens. There is nothing happening short term, and there's no projects out there that are going to make it where you don't need banks. And it's quite the opposite. SWIFT, FIS Global, JP Morgan, those powerful entities are getting stronger. They're already starting to dominate even more inside the crypto world if you dive into what they're up to. It's not even close. So when and if that so-called banking reset happens, you're going to be shocked at who comes out the other side, for whatever that's worth. And that's documented and factual, guys, if you follow the facts, right? Now, one hedge fund guy said the reason they do not want instant settlement, they hate it, is because right now with blockchain technology, everything is on the ledger. So he said, I can't put on a $1 billion position and the whole world not know it right now. And he's scared to use some of the tools like, say, Tornado Cash to block it, or use a mixer or whatever, because they're waiting on regulation. So they're like, until we get regulation, I don't want to put on a trade on a ledger. I don't care if it's cheaper, faster, because I want it to be delayed. He said, because right now, if I do a trade on the ledger with blockchain, he goes, a bot can front run me right out of the gate, which he said, that's not a big issue. We're talking pocket chains. He goes, but my competitors, right? My competition who can put on a trade opposite of me, can hedge me. He goes, there's nothing good about it when you're an international trader. We do not want instant settlement. And it's going to be a long time before all that stuff's in place. That's what a hedge fund guy said. Now, the guy that's on the council of BIS, the Bank of International Settlement, he said basically the number one non-negotiable thing they need is basically a third party that's going to be liable. Banks do not in any way, shape, or form want complete decentralization, because, right now, if they send their customers money, $1 billion, let's just say it got hacked on the XLR bridge, what would they do then? Who are they going to call? Who's going to insure that money? It's not insured, which, I just did a video and I'll leave a link. Galaxy Digital has rails on Ethereum that they have a $1 billion insurance policy if you go through them. That's a whole different story. But anyway, guys, the biggest thing that's going on with payments is it's too risky, it's too decentralized, and the regulation doesn't allow it. I remember watching a video where it was one of the guys that runs the corridor for Ripple, I think in like Asia, somewhere in Asia. And he was talking about the biggest issue they have with opening up more corridors. And the reason they started their liquidity hub, he said, even if we can do an ODL transfer, he said we might not be able to make it halfway there. And then we have to put on another trade and another trade and another trade for compliance. I didn't really understand it then, but I do now. Because, guys, you can't just send money all around the world. You're going over hundreds, if not thousands, of jurisdictions. And you got to have a regulation infrastructure in place. And normally that's some type of permit. And a lot of places just don't even have the permit. Just like in America with the SEC, they're not going to tell you you can't do it, and they won't tell you can do it. Well, most banks are not going to, build an infrastructure and even play in that territory. So anyway, the point about this is, and according to the guy that's on the council of BIS, he's looking at minimum 10 years. The guy at Ripple was talking about, he thought we were 25 plus years out, just because the whole world is going to have to come together. No one wants it to happen. No one cares about it happening. And yes, it will happen. I think everyone agrees. But hey, maybe there's something, maybe blockchain or half graph or whatever, maybe that's just the starting point. Maybe when it all comes together, it looks more like Venmo or Cash App's no token needed. That's what I personally think. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to bring it to your attention that right now there is not going to be any banking, so-called banking reset. The ISO projects, even if they kick off in 25, which is the deadline, which the narrative is probably going to fire back up, know this: Swift has a roadmap. They're using Link as the gateway. They're going to be using smart contracts and messaging. They have a heck of a future. They already have the customers. So whether they use XRP, HBAR, IOTA, XLM, or whatever, those are just going to be a few of the many rails that will be going through in and out of Swift. Swift doesn't need any of those rails. They're irrelevant. All those rails need Swift, for whatever that's worth. So guys, keep in mind, when you start hearing, oh, there's going to be a flip the switch, which I literally heard today, and the banking reset, guys, when that happens, if it happens, you're just going to see Swift, FIS Global, JP Morgan get stronger and stronger. They have the tech, they have the roadmap, they have the regulation that they're putting in place and getting passed, and they have all the customers. So the future is going to belong to Visa and Swift and the JP Morgans of the world. Don't let anyone kid you. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Hit that like button, share with like-minded people, and come back and be part of this community. Take care.